So now for the final chapter of this course, I want to go through a few troubleshooting tips because you will run into a few things that make you think, that's not the right response I'm after. So there are three very common outcomes you might be facing with ChatGPT. And the first one is that it's generating irrelevant or nonsensical responses. So if you're experiencing that with ChatGPT, there is a good chance that your prompt is not very specific or concise. You want it to be clear and make sure that it's outlining exactly what you're after. If you have forgotten about that, jump back to prompt engineering. I believe it was the second and first point that we went through that. If ChatGPT is providing you with very irrelevant responses, there's a good chance that your prompt is not concise enough, not clear enough, and doesn't get straight to the point. Explain to ChatGPT exactly what you want. Make sure you provide it with the background it needs to understand the task that you're after, really know the task at hand, and exactly how to help you out with that. How it can give you the best response and target its response directly to your prompt. Now, you may also feel like ChatGPT is being very repetitive and very formulaic with its responses, and you want something a little more creative. This is where you want to take a step back and make it a bit more broad. If you feel like your responses are being very repetitive, you've either not given enough context and background, or you're actually being too specific in this case. And ChatGPT is finding it difficult to find different ways to answer your question. So if you take a step back, make it a little more broad, a little less concise, and really understanding the right balance between being concise and clear and being broad and generic to get the answers that you want. So you can get something tailored towards your prompt and towards what you're after, but also broad enough to give you a bunch of responses that aren't repetitive and formulaic. You may also want to try giving different prompts. So if you feel like that prompt is giving the same answer, maybe try a different prompt, give a bit more background, provide background in different areas. So if I was writing something about Next.js and Tailwind, I might want to point it in the right direction. If it's constantly generating content about an intro to Next.js, I might want to say, can you focus specifically on and give it a topic? Or say, can you use this library specifically and point it in the right direction? That'll help you go a long way with using ChatGPT and also prevent those repetitive responses. Now, the final tip that I want to give you with troubleshooting is if you feel like the responses you're getting are either too long or too short. Now, this is a super easy one to address. Either provide the length that you want in the chat or tailor your prompt towards the length that you're expecting. So if I want a short story, I'll make it clear that I want a short story, not a novel. If I want something a lot longer, I will ask ChatGPT to provide me a long blog post. If I know the character count, I will ask for exactly that, and I'll tell it, can you provide something close to the character count of 1,500 words? Like I mentioned earlier, I have noticed that ChatGPT does have a bit of a character limit. Not sure exactly what it is, but it does provide very limited responses. So make sure that you're tailoring or prompting further to ask those questions, allowing ChatGPT to expand more. Make sure though, when you are planning on prompting further, that you don't ask ChatGPT to write a complete response in your first prompt. The issue that you'll find with that is that ChatGPT writes, for example, 3 paragraphs where the final paragraph actually seems like it ends the topic or ends that response. And that's not what you want if you plan on continuing. So I would provide one topic, allow it to finish that, or a paragraph, allow it to finish the paragraph, and then prompt for a second paragraph. Break it up, break it down, and really allow ChatGPT to go piece by piece rather than giving you large blobs of information. And that's how you can get longer responses from ChatGPT.